Good morning, fellow Toastmasters.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Christine is going to present her speech, Mexican Mistakes. This is her project too. So what she's aiming to do is she would like to speak within the allotted time, use clear and appropriate transitions between subjects, and present a strong opening and closing. During Christine's Mexican Mistake speech, I hope to learn things to avoid, as well as things to do to make the most of my vacation. Please help me and Christine by evaluating her transitions, as well as her opening and closing remarks. Timer. Please use the green card at 5 minutes, the yellow card at 6, and the red at 7. With that, please help me welcome and provide propitious conditions for Christine.
I'm going to start a little bit differently today. I need everybody to close their eyes. I need you to visualize yourself. Tropical beach. You're comfortably lying in a lounge chair. The sun is warm. It's warming your skin. You have a cool ocean breeze blowing on your skin, cooling it off if you get too hot. You've got cold water lapping at your toes. You've got your feet dangling in the water. You can smell that salty ocean air. You've got a cool drink within arm's reach sitting next to you as you get overheated. You're gently serenaded by the sound of those ocean waves. Sounds good, doesn't it? Now what if you were laying there and you were scorching hot because you've got a sunburn, or instead of being relaxed, you're clutching your stomach because it's rolling and you feel sick, and amongst other things. Or your feet are blistered and sore and they hurt because instead of wearing comfortable shoes, you had to wear fashionable sandals because you're at a beach resort. When traveling for an international vacation, or any vacation for that matter, it's very important that you prepare yourself. I had a recent vacation to Mexico that I'm going to share a few things with you today. And there were things that I didn't do to prepare for that vacation. So that's where that's what I'm going to talk about today. It's important to keep these three things in mind when you're traveling. One, you need to do your homework before you go on vacation. Two, you need to be prepared for things that may arise during that vacation. And three, you need to respect cultural differences while you're on that vacation. Keeping that in mind, I'd like to share a few of my Mexican mistakes to illustrate these points to you today. First, like I said, you need to do your homework. My recent trip almost started off in a disaster. I was booking the vacation through a friend of mine who owns a timeshare, and I didn't do enough homework. I didn't research it enough to realize that there's 3 or 4 resorts in the same area with very similar names. So I had a place picked out. It looked beautiful in the pictures and on the website. I knew that's where we were going to stay. We're on the phone and I said, book it. Booked my airline tickets. It's all non-refundable. 2 hours later, my friend called me and said, you're never going to believe this, but I booked you at a different place. Luckily for us, we ended up at an even better resort for the same price, but it made me think, had I not done my homework, or had I done more homework, or had I missed something very important, I could have paid for a resort that was not including or not inclusive, not including all the meals, when I wanted to be at an all-inclusive resort. And that's a big cost difference when you're planning a vacation. Luckily, we ended up at a resort where everything we needed was there. So that was a good lesson learned. Some of the other things that you want to look for when you're planning that vacation and when you're looking at those resorts, things that I learned. How big is that property? How much walking are you going to have to do? Some of these newer resorts are enormous. Are you going to have to walk 15 minutes to eat every day? And if you have to do that kind of walking on the property, as beautiful as it is, you want the right footwear. Because you don't want to walk around in 3-inch fashionable heels. Now guys, I know you won't do that. But ladies, you don't want to walk around in 3-inch fashionable heels and have sore feet all day. So a couple other things to keep in mind when you're looking at a property. Does that resort include meals and drinks? And if it's not all-inclusive, make sure you bring enough money with you. Does that resort offer transportation to and from the airport? When you're traveling internationally, that's a major thing to consider because you don't know who you can and cannot trust. I almost missed the bus on that transportation, and luckily I got my transportation because I made that reservation. So now you've done your homework, it's time to go on your trip, or time to pack for your trip. So the second thing that you need to do is be prepared. I ask you, what's the difference between SPF 15 and SPF 50? A sunburn.
Yeah.
In Mexico, it's a sunburn. I thought I would be okay with SPF 15. There wasn't. After a day or two of SPF 15, I had to switch and go buy some SPF 50 for $20 a bottle because I was on the resort and I couldn't use SPF 15 anymore. What's the difference between bottled water and tap water in Mexico? Politely referred to as Montezuma's Revenge. You need to use caution when you're traveling in other locations. I wasn't being careful enough. I was brushing my teeth with tap water. I was washing the fruit that I purchased with tap water, and I got sick. Because I got so sick, I lost an entire day of my vacation in bed at the resort, looking at the sunshine outside, unable to get up. So that's one thing that you can do to be prepared, is to prepare your body. Perhaps go to an herbal store and buy some herbal supplements or some probiotic supplements to prepare your body. Make sure you have bottled water available. Brush your teeth with bottled water. Now you've researched, you've done your homework, you've prepared for your trip, you've packed your bags, and you're on vacation now. When you're on vacation in a foreign country, you need to remember, my third tip, you need to respect cultural differences. Here in America, we live a very fast-paced life. We expect things now. We want things when we want them. Even when we go out to eat, for example, we're sitting in a restaurant, we expect the waiter to come to our table right away, bring us our drinks, bring us our rolls, get our drink order. Very different in Mexico. Their eating out isn't just a meal, it's an experience. And they take their time. They're slower. It's more laid back. It's more relaxed. Instead of growing impatient with the waiters, we learn to very quickly adapt to that. One of the other major cultural differences that we encountered while we were traveling there is everybody expected a tip. Here, we're used to tipping at the hairdresser, for example, or at a restaurant. Not in Mexico. In Mexico, the bus driver, the van driver, the bathroom attendant, the pool attendant, the tour guide, the bus driver for the tour, everybody expects a tip. It's not just a friendly thing that you do there. It's part of their culture and it's part of their salary. So you need to be prepared for that. So while I was in Mexico, I did learn a few lessons. I didn't do my homework. So I almost didn't have the right resort and I almost didn't have reliable transportation. I wasn't prepared for the intense sun down there, and I wasn't prepared for the stomach issues. I wasn't aware of the many cultural differences that there were, and so many instances I appeared rude because I didn't leave a tip because I wasn't prepared to leave a tip, and I don't want to appear rude. Benjamin Franklin once said, by failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail. Do you want a successful vacation, or do you want a vacation that's a failure? I personally want a successful vacation, so next time I'm going to prepare. Do your homework, be prepared, respect cultural differences. As you're relaxing poolside on your next vacation, you'll thank